our city.
60 Northwest.
We got that
L-A-C-E-Y.
so pretty. Loving it when you rain on me. There ain't nothing like my city.
The warm up. me.
Well, because I've been locked up, I've been missing out. You know, I seen some Dave Chappelle that I never seen before.
Oh, for real?
Shit had me dying, bro. A
B.
C.
It's your boy B, aka B Active.
And I'm Lacey from Lacey.
Cal from Cal. Thanks for having us, guys. Thank you.
It's Love and Lacey, the podcast show for the 360 live.
Live
For
and
part of
coming
the
at ya.
episode. This episode will drop later this week on the YouTube page. So it might cut short, partway through, halfway through. We don't know yet. We're just playing it by ear, authentic. That's how we do it.
Yeah,
And organic.
I love it. I love it that way.
But, hey, I was just saying, I'd seen some Dave Chappelle stand-up
Okay.
that I hadn't seen.
Which one was it?
I seen the Sticks and Stones.
Okay.
I got about most way through that.
Okay.
Boy, is he controversial.
He is.
And then I seen The Closer. I seen all of that.
The Closer.
And he said that was his last one. So I think The Closer's the newest one.
that was on Netflix. The Closer.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
There's this freaking white boy, and I can't think of his name right now. It might be like it's Matt.
Is he a comedian?
Yes, stand-up comedian,
Oh, you
up and
talk-
coming.
Oh, okay.
He's
Never mind.
so funny. Matt Thripe or something like that. Or
We should figure out for sure
Yes.
and update it because I want to see what you're talking about. I enjoy me some comedy, man.
no, he's so funny, and he's like up and coming comedian. He was actually just here at the comedy club, which irritates me because I wanted to see him. And the next tickets that I see for him here are next October.
And you're on it, huh?
Not this October, like 24.
Get your ticket. Get your tickets now.
As soon as they
Yeah.
take this bracelet off, we might have to go flying.
Yeah.
That's my thing, man. I want to do
I
a
want to
lot.
try to go to Vegas then.
Oh, we're going to Vegas. Like, that's easy. That's like
It is pretty easy.
I got people out there and everything.
Right,
Like,
right.
we're good in Vegas.
Easy.
That's
The easy button.
Yeah. Hey, we just jump in the car and go to Vegas. That's not even a thing. You just went.
Vegas is popping. Oh my goodness.
How long
And
were
yours-
you there for?
Say what?
How long were you there for?
This time, like 6 days. You know?
Yeah, because I know people that go there for the weekends, and I'm like, how could you? Like, how is that enough? It's like 2 days.
Every
Like,
time
how-
I went for 2 days, it turned to 4 to 6.
Every time.
Every time.
Every time.
Every time. But also, it's different because there's when you visit a place, you're a tourist.
Right.
But when you basically got a residence or you're visiting somebody with a residence, it's a different look because now you got the natives taking you around. Like
Right.
people live there that's
They
from
know
there.
where to go,
You
what
go
to
to
do.
specific
Right.
spots that's not on the tourist agenda.
Right. We would never know about.
But so this is the thing. So it's like my brother lives in Hawaii, right? And he's lived there for a really long time. But when I go to Hawaii, do I want to go stay with him or do I want to have the vacation experience and stay at a huge, lavish hotel and get laid and all that stuff? I want to stay at the hotel. I don't want to stay at my brother's for free.
The way my mind
Well,
thinks.
no,
I
that's
start thinking
not.
in dollars. I'm going to stay this up.
you can do both.
Right.
You can book the hotel and then have your brother meet you in the mornings and take you to go see some shit that a native would only know about, and then still go do your tourist thing. And at the end of the night, you got your hotel.
True.
Where we would have our hotel
Resort.
and our space and the experience of that as well. But you know what I'm saying? Just having somebody somewhere just gives it that extra spice.
Right.
That extra sauce. Like,
know where to go,
if y'all want to
you know
come
what I'm
out to
saying?
Lacey and you never been, you know what I mean? It'd be better to hit up some locals that know what's up and take you where you want to go.
Right.
If you're visiting Lacey and you want to know where to go, you better contact Lacey from Lacey.
Right. Tune into the show.
Yeah.
Into the Loving Lacey podcast.
Tell you where to go.
What's
Got
the first
Facebook
5 minutes
page,
of every
the
episode?
YouTube page. And Lacey stayed posting shit on there.
does.
That's like the unspoken job of hers that she took on. Like, she will post that stuff all over the Facebook
And
page.
it's just what I do. It's just what I be doing with the kids.
I see you guys over at the little splash park by my house too. I see you guys over there religiously, man. I haven't myself been up there yet.
I like because
Well, they
it's
have.
like no one knows about it yet. It's not all
Right.
like over freaking
Right.
populated. So someone had told me, dang, the West Side one's like so crowded and blah blah. And I'm like, oh, that's because it's known.
Right.
You know.
True.
Plus, the West Side holds the West Side area,
And it's right on the main
that little
street.
East Side is like tipped in, tucked in the nooks and crannies.
It
And
is
that
kinda
little
tucked away.
vintage neighborhood. It's like,
Lions
There's
Park
that
is dope
other
anyway.
one
I
we.
know, I do
Dope.
love
I
it.
love Lions Park.
That's
about
I'm
the
definitely
other one
doing a
we
birthday
passed?
next year for Aries there because June. What?
What's that one we passed when we were coming downtown? And it was on the left. Like if you're coming from
Splash
the west
Park?
side,
Yeah, that's the Smash
it's a
Park.
new one. That's the one that's not by your house.
No,
Lions Park?
No.
Lions
That's
Park is
the
behind
old. That's
Egan's.
the spot. It's new to us, but it's
Okay.
been there for a few years now. That is a newer Splash Park on the west side of Olympia. He's talking about.
Oh, by Short Clean Car Wash.
Yeah, he's talking.
Oh,
about.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
okay.
Like if you're coming up the hill
It's
into
by
Yeah.
Madison, right?
Madison Elementary. No, it's
Not
Garfield.
Madison.
Garfield.
Yeah.
Garfield.
You know what I meant. You know what I meant.
Garfield, yeah. With the underground set up by McCord's house.
His mom's house. Yeah. Does she still stay there?
No, I don't think she does. No.
Hey, we got on some
KG's a little
horses
bit.
today though.
You guys got on some horses?
Yeah, I'm gonna take
Hey.
my horse to the Old Town Road.
Where'd you guys get on horses at?
Where my daughter's getting married at, it's a farm.
Okay.
And they got 4 horses. One you can't ride.
Is it not tame or
They'll throw
something?
you off.
It's
That's
the
what
white
they were
one, of
saying.
course.
The little white one. You see the pictures on a Facebook post. But yeah, man. So he put us on. We put me and my wife on the biggest one.
Right.
It's huge.
Were you guys scared?
No.
No, I used to ride
absolutely not.
horses growing up, random.
That was my first time, but no.
One of my really good friends had horses. A couple of them actually had horses, and so they were like riders. And then I would just go hang out with them when
Right.
they, do their barn duties and stuff sometimes, or ride their horses. And then like Ocean Shores when I was a little kid, me and the family, they have the horse rides.
Right.
I was so little, and those horse rides are so long that I remember when I had gotten off, I was like stuck bow-legged, walking like bow-legged because I had been riding the horse. It's like an hour beach ride, and then you get off, and it's like that was crazy.
You know how I feel, man. If a horse put Superman in a wheelchair, I'm not too sure I want to mess with it. You know what I'm saying?
Man, it was
I don't know.
it was an amazing feeling. Really. Surreal. I feel like I'm a true Yellowstone fan now.
Yeah.
Dave still hasn't seen the season.
I haven't
though.
seen it, but I know exactly what it is. I got a lot of friends that like it. They talk about it all the time.
Yeah, I'm starting
it's
to
a
watch it,
good
but I'm also
show.
starting to watch Sons of
Everyone says
Anarchy,
that.
and we're watching
You never
Game
seen
of
Sons
Thrones,
of Anarchy?
and I'm watching.
Oh man.
What
Yeah,
else?
we got
I'm watching
show.
like Seven
Let's say
Things
we
Swagger,
got Swagger.
which is so good. Have you
I
seen
watched
it?
The Witcher.
Have you seen it?
She doesn't. Swagger's really good.
You
Then
need to see
we just started the Game of Thrones. I was locked up for most of it, and I never got hip. And finally, I was like, "Babe, you want to just start
Check it
from
out."
the beginning?" And so we started Game of Thrones. We like it, and then
In the Dark was a good ass series too,
In the dark. Why do I know which one that is?
because the blind girl is trying to solve her friend that got murdered. It's murder. Oh my god, it's so good.
I feel like we started that or something. There's so many. We'll start something.
13
and then
Reasons
get over
Why
here.
was
Ooh,
so good.
Have you seen Breaking? You guys have seen Breaking Bad?
Of course.
yeah. I watched
You know what? I haven't seen all of it though. So I remember before I had Achilles, I had started watching that, or maybe after.
You know they had like a super successful spinoff.
Better Call Saul.
Better Call Saul.
I was just about to say that. Hey, so when I was locked up, all the guys would watch Breaking Bad. I never really got into it in there, and then just like a year and a half ago, we sat down and watched it, and I was
It's
just
so
like,
good,
okay.
isn't it? It's
You know,
so
two
good.
okay.
other prison shows were OC when it was out.
Yep.
That was a big one. Like everybody on the tier, you could hear all their
Yeah,
TVs.
yep,
Like in the
yep.
state, you had your own TV in the cell. Everybody, the little anthem that came on.
It was like the little simultaneous. You can
Yeah,
walk
you
down
would
the
hear
tier,
it,
you can
yeah.
hear it every single. Yeah, that's
And
a weird feeling.
I liked Orange is the New Black too.
And then the other one was Animal Kingdom.
Animal Kingdom. Yep.
That
Yep.
just finished.
Yep.
That just had its series finale. This last year was its last.
I started watching that
Yeah.
with Marcelli, and
I
then
finished
got
it
out.
right before I got out.
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's another one I need to watch.
Animal Kingdom.
Yeah, Animal Kingdom is like that.
There was
Okay, well, then
another
I
one
need to
too.
watch
That was like originally what was that?
Prison?
That's a
We also
USA
watched
one.
it.
Well, it's not a prison show, but it's just a show that
That everyone watches. In the
everyone
joint.
watches in prison. That's why I say prison shows. In case you guys were confused, that's what I meant by prison show. It's not about prison.
That's why she said Orange is the New Black. I see.
Yeah.
I see.
Orange is the New Black is an actual.
Yeah.
The setting is in jail and prison, but when I said prison shows, we've been to
Right.
prison, so
That
these are the shows
everyone
that
watches.
everybody in the facility.
Ooh,
was
a show
watching.
that I really love was Love After Lockup, and then they made Love During Lockup.
I like that show too.
Y'all
Love
like
After
it
Lockup was
too?
dope,
Yeah.
dude. I like
I
that
got a
show.
response
Especially
from
if you've
them.
been there because
Yeah,
you
yeah.
just know.
I actually got a response from them
From Love After
on the
Lockup.
way out, and I spaced my mind. They were supposed to do me and Lacey when I got out.
What? Whoa!
On everything, bro. I totally forgot. I'd hit them up, and they were like, "Yeah, you're close enough." Fucking da 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 da. And it was around the same time that Amazon Prime had hit up
Right.
Bread and said, "Hey, if you guys want to do the Bread and Be Active show, shoot it and send it to us. We'll run it." So
That would have been tight, dude. You guys got on there.
I just got so much that happened right
Right,
when I got out,
right.
and just going. I totally forgot about that until she just said it.
You're like, oh yeah.
Yeah, they responded. Yeah.
Now I'm like 250 days too late, but whatever.
Yeah, because they what they said was they like to do
Yeah.
basically they like to follow you within a year to 6 months before you get out, and then they follow you after you
After.
release and just the whole
I
progress.
think you guys have been good on that show. That
Yeah,
would've
we
that
would've been-
perfect.
I don't think. I mean, I don't know. I think with our content and with the way things went with us, it isn't typical because if you watch that show, a lot of that it's miserable failings
Right,
of
right,
those relationships, and we didn't do that. We would have been the
the
what I mean?
anomaly.
The
But
anomaly.
it's basically bringing to light that pen paling is not a promised future for
Right.
the majority of people. That it is people like the people on the outside like their person locked up 9 out of 10 times in those situations because they know where they're at and
They
what they're
know
doing
where
at all
they're at.
times. It's a controlling thing. And the person on the inside is getting whatever they're receiving benefits, money, someone to talk to, phone time, music
Right.
money, entertainment money, things.
But there's a whole dynamic with
and
that,
not
too.
that everybody. I'm just saying that this is a huge, vast majority of the cases.
Right.
And
yeah,
so,
and a lot of them they didn't
it's-
know each other before they went in.
right. And
Now all of a
so
sudden you're
they're
living
just
together.
bringing it
That's
to
Right.
the
light, yeah.
difference. That's the difference.
Well, when I was in there, a lot of the other guys that I knew, it was almost like a sport to them. I knew a dude who probably had 7, 8, 9.
I knew girls like that too. I knew girls like that as well that had
It
several.
was a sport.
Several.
Yeah.
And they were getting money.
Money. More money than the one on the streets.
Yeah.
Money.
And then they would be
Everything they
like,
needed.
so they would also be like buying them stuff and showing them pictures of like the stuff they're stocking up for
Right,
them, outfits
right.
and wardrobes and all kinds of shoes and sometimes like a house or an apartment, a car, like, so
This
they.
is waiting for you. Right here. And they come on a tier like, look, whoa, come look at my JPay real quick. Look. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yep.
It's crazy how similar it is, but how different it is between
Yeah.
like a men's prison and a female's prison.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, because Babe was telling me all the time, like when my war stories, she's like, bitches ain't like that. Like
No,
you know what I mean? Like there's no
girls are friends with the fucking rapos, they're friends with the pedophiles, they're friends with the freaking baby killers, they're friends with there's no like, hey, you raped kids, like you can't be over here. It's like whatever, like
Just
that.
whatever.
Yeah, that old bitch, fucking her and her husband was raping and kidnapping kids, and and then it's like, oh, but people are still buying all this shit from her because she can knit really cool things,
Right,
or
right.
like, you know what I'm saying? It's not like that.
I didn't know that.
And then
Interesting.
there are some that might get talked shit to, but also the CEOs shut that shit the fuck down, and it is a SAGable thing, so no one's trying to go to fucking SAG over tapping a bitch
Right.
that, you know what I'm saying? It's not
See
gonna
how quick you reverted to prison talk. So SEG for those of you that don't
That's
know,
what they call it.
yeah, it's segregation. So it's the whole.
The
It's
whole.
23
The
and
shoe for down
23 and
south.
1. In some places they call it the SHU, Secured Housing Unit.
Right.
These are just acronyms. You know what I'm saying? But basically she's saying they get left alone because they'll go to a 23-and-1 hole
Well,
in the
the
wall.
root of the story is they'll tell on you for messing with them.
Yeah, but
and
see,
you'll
and
get sent to set.
there's places like
And
in
you
the
get
feds, and then
charged also.
Right.
Something like harassment. There's a
Yeah.
charge that goes along
There goes
with it. If
45
they have a
days good
certain
time.
case that and you're like causing them issues, it goes on to like a harassment thing, which is more serious. And they'll literally like you could be in the hole for months, and that's not worth it. You know.
Right.
yeah.
It's
Well, and
basically
the
how
males-
I handle like just I keep my distance. I didn't like interact. That was just a choice, especially like people had to do with kids, you know, not necessarily baby killers because there are different stories to different things and people go local, you know, or whatever. But I'm talking about like rapists and stuff like that. You know, you just keep a distance. You don't talk to them, and like they don't exist to you. So it's really not that hard to do.
Yeah, stay on the other side of the
Yeah.
street from
No,
them.
but in the male
Stay in
prisons,
line.
they really started cracking down
They did.
on making that felony. So dudes, you know, if you're beating up somebody that was a SO in the male prisons or stabbing them or whatever the case may be, you was getting major charges.
charges,
You were getting
hate crime.
yeah, you were getting extra time
You're getting a hate crime.
for sure.
You're going back
Hate
to county,
crime, that's
for
what I was
sure.
trying
You're going
to
back to
say.
county.
Yeah, it's a hate crime.
and you're getting charged for that.
Yeah,
For
so
sure.
see what I'm
certainly.
saying? There's not like you
Remember they
can't-
took out paperwork and everything. Remember,
Are we
like
getting comments or what?
Yeah,
I swear that thing just popped.
it might have. I don't know.
I can't see that far.
I'm not sure.
yeah, from my first time and second time down, we came with our paperwork. So when you first get into the R units
Yeah.
and you walk in the cell with whoever, you know the routine. You
Yeah.
put yours down, and his is already sitting there because he knows someone's coming in today. And then on my last time down, I'm about to
They
go
take
in
it
and-
from you. Yeah, that's what I heard. I heard in the state, you can't travel from prison to
Can't
prison
travel with it.
with your paperwork. Like they remove it from your property because your property gets packed up. You know, outside of your. It's not like you're wearing a backpack with your property when you get
They
on.
put it under the bus
when you get
and
on the
stuff,
prison
yeah.
bus. Like they go through it before they release it to you, and if they see your charges and your paperwork, they take it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and the feds, they don't really care about all that because the feds, like, first of all, dudes got phones in the feds.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And they're just making phone calls and running your plates is what they call it. They'll figure out, like, before you hit an institution, whatever group you're with, they'll already know what you're there
Right,
for.
right.
9 times out of 10, they know you're coming. They know your name. They know your story. And a lot of things in the feds, they go to these public postings where as soon as you get sentenced in the feds, a little article goes up in the paper.
Oh,
That
right.
says
You know, it's
yeah,
United
yeah.
States versus so-and-so, sentenced to so-and-so, charges were da-da-da-da-da. But it's so easy to get to the bottom of, like, figuring out what people are in there for. Like, it's
so funny
It's pointless to even,
Right.
you know what I mean?
Prison is just funny. I was thinking about it the other day too. It's like about what makes you cool in there is like the dumbest shit.
The dumbest shit.
Like
in the
I get a
whole wide
magazine
world.
subscription and I have canteen money every week. I'm fucking so cool, and it's like $25, and it's like fucking top ramen and fucking
Right.
peanut
Kiwi
butter
and
and,
some
coffee and
red
creamer.
beans and rice and
but
shit.
that like makes you like, oh, she has money, or like, oh, I got, you know, like my makeup and my straightener and all my stuff off the canteen, or not the canteen. What's it called?
A store,
Commissary,
commissary.
Oh, ours isn't. Ours is something else. They orders outside, like your people outside.
access package.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
like,
yeah.
The people have to order. So I had, you know, your TV, all that stuff. Oh, that makes you cool. You know what I'm saying? It's just so dumb. And it's
It
like,
is,
you have
dude.
these like 40-year-old women in there acting just hella childish and like mean girls, and like it's just insane because also like the people in there are 9 times out of 10 nothing what they're like outside of it.
Right.
It's so weird. It's
No,
weird.
because I mean,
dude.
humans have the uncanny ability to adapt to whatever environment they're in.
Yeah, for
and so
sure.
there's
You-
psychological
gay for the
choices.
say, that's another thing. They get in the receiving gay for the say.
What's gay for the? Oh, gay for the state. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Especially with females because, you know, it's not as a male.
Gay for the state.
Gay for the say. Yep.
I mean,
Oh man.
people will adapt, and also what they'll do is, you know, you'll adapt to what you believe.
Right.
So as a human, and in our society, a lot of times what we do is we don't act on what we know, we act on what we believe. You see what I'm saying? So we make choices and decisions on what we believe. So if you're on your way to prison and you believe it's going to be a certain dynamic or a certain environment, or you have to be this particular way,
Right.
then you're already mentally hyping yourself
Changing
up,
into that person.
and you're already changing. You're already creating this facade or whatever you want to call it. And then when you get there, and it's not that. Sometimes people are just so committed. They're like,
Right.
man, I was so committed to being hella hard that I might as well just be hella hard because it's hella easy here. And
Yeah.
now
Or
I'm
it's
about
like-
to just have my way.
Bitches that might be hella cool in there, they ain't shit on the streets.
Right.
And then the opposite, like bitches that have
Yeah.
all the shit and all the stuff on the streets, they might not be that cool. In there.
Because when
Like,
somebody's
bitches are
providing,
haters.
when somebody's providing all your meals, and all it
Place to
takes,
sleep.
and all it takes is $25 a week to be in the upper class of the society, then everybody has a shot when you're in
Right.
prison. But at the end of the day, prison is still, no matter what level you are in prison, prison itself is underneath society.
Right.
It's tucked away. So you still got
And
to
none of
get
this shit
out.
matters when you get out.
None of it matters.
None
Like,
of it.
when I got out, I had a clear plastic bag that was about this big. That was it.
Right.
Everything else I had,
Right.
I had a full locker of food. I had multiple pairs of shoes.
Take all this
All
shit.
that shit got left to the homies.
TVs,
My photo
Take
album, I
everything.
took all my pictures out of my photo album. My
hot
photo
box.
album got left to the
Right.
homies. My bowls, headphones, even my MP3 player that after 14 days, you have to renew. You have to
Right.
log it in with your code.
Or it'll
Right.
get
So
taken and look at
Nobody could even renew it. And
But
they
for
still,
13 days, they was
I still left it with the homie. Revalidated
Revalidated
it the day I got out that
Right.
morning and shot it to the homie.
Yep.
They're like, no, we can reset it. We can figure it out. It's your. I don't care.
Right.
It's yours. You know what I mean? And one thing I did do, and I still do, I can go on my phone right now and show you Pelly posts. Like there's still some good dudes that I made some connections with that are homies that I still write on core links. I was gonna say JPay, but
They
that's
changed-
They changed
JPay
it.
is
They
the
changed
same.
it, bro.
But they changed J. They don't have JP anymore
It's
either,
Secure
right?
Us Technologies
Yeah,
now.
they changed JP.
Oh,
That's what it
secure.
is. Secure
Well, that's for the
technology.
state. In the feds, it's core links.
Right.
They're two
Oh, yeah,
completely
right, right.
different things. Yeah.
Right.
So, and then Pelly posts you can send to anywhere. You know what I'm saying? I just sent my homeboy some Pelly posts like 2 weeks ago. When I'm thinking about it, because it's right there on your phone. We're in our phones all day long. We stare at
Right.
them all day long. And you got people that are incarcerated. In case you didn't know, there's something called pellypost.com, PELI, and you can select pictures and they'll send right to the institution. You don't have to
Right.
get an envelope, a stamp, nothing. Click them on your phone, drop them in the app. It's like $9
And
to
they
send
take
20
care of the
pictures.
rest, yeah.
Yeah, and it just gets delivered to them. And you can pick glossy, pick the size. You can do calendars, whatever. And sometimes, we've said it before, people inside really do need that little bit of just, hey, somebody's out there thinking of me.
Hey, I
Like,
love you.
Yeah, just to hear your name called at mail call and it not be some kite you sent to a counselor asking a
Right.
question. That also is one of the things that makes people cool. Oh, he gets mail every night. Like that's a big deal in the pen. You could be broke, but if you get mail every night,
You're that guy.
you're up there. You're like a jock in high school. Like you're one of the
Which
cool
is so
kids.
dumb because if people are JPaying you, why the fuck are they gonna be mailing you physically? They're
But there's
not.
something about
I know,
at least a
I know.
postcard. There's something about
There's
that.
something about physical pictures.
There's something
like,
about that, man.
It's just, because mail call, it's a thing. Even though it's all digital now, when they get to calling them last names and 20 names get called and you was expecting something and yours doesn't, like that
Right.
shit could ruin your week,
Oh my
your
goodness.
month. Like
Your
it's
life.
Yeah. Hey, remember I
In
told,
there,
I told
yeah.
you guys once before, I'd rather get mail than go to mainline when I was in the joint.
Yeah.
I really felt
because there are places that
forgotten.
are weird like that.
You know
Like,
who
oh, you
wrote
got to
me
stay
one
back
time?
and get your mail.
I did like 60 or 90 days in county, and I was in the hole for a while, and freaking out of the complete blue, Jones wrote me.
Oh, nuh-uh.
Yeah, it
Aw.
was so random and
Aw.
so crazy. I'll
Cool.
never forget
That's
that.
super cool.
Cool as fuck. Like never
But,
ever
but
would
it
have
made you
expected
it made you feel
random
Dude,
ass
wrote me,
homeboy,
man.
like,
Yeah.
I don't know, but he wrote me and was like, keep your head up, like, he's been there, blah, blah. I remember that was a long time ago, like, 2012.
But you were
or
smiling
some
as you were
shit.
telling the story. You know,
And that's another thing
what mail will do.
about pen pals is like when females write dudes in prison, you don't have to be in a relationship to continuously communicate with somebody in prison. Like, seems like everybody that reaches out for a pen pal looks to turn them into
Right.
a relationship. Like that shit's non-existent. It's better to just have a friend anyway, because then it's more genuine. It's more authentic. You're not playing games and trying to finagle something out of somebody. It's just, hey, how you doing? Like, I was checking in on you. You know, that stuff matters to people that are incarcerated. You know.
There's no ulterior motive.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, for sure. And
Right.
speaking of, you know, I just got a sponsor to launch my 501c3 Hopefully by the end of the year that'll be off. Pursue
go.
it if you want it. We'll be officially a non-profit organization. And one of the things that I'm going to do with that organization is give back and reach into the prisons, try to groom, train, and find inmates that are interested in making the changes that I've made and pursuing a career where they can turn that shit around, where they can give back from their lived experience, whether it's peer counseling or motivational speaking, just what it is. I want to track inmates like 6 months, maybe a year to the door and just start corresponding with them, give them the training, and then maybe at the end of all of it, if we got the grants and the funding, we give them a brand new car that they don't have to make payments on. Right. Just something to really ease their way
Help
back
them out,
into society instead of just just a little twos and fews or that they give people, but just like a real mentor, like a sponsor for reentry rather than a sponsor for AA, because not everybody that been to prison
is on a drug charge,
is substance use disorder, experiencing, but there's still trauma and there's still reentry and there's still cognitive, behavior issues coming back into society that a mentor who literally been there and came out and navigated getting back on track with life. Like I had to learn about credit. I had to learn a whole bunch of new things just in the last 7 months since I've been home. And so being able to give back and bring somebody up to par and help them and show them how easy it is to take these steps to getting back to just a regular living, contributing member of society. Like it feels great.
Let me ask you guys something. Do you guys think that there is a prison politic that society should adapt?
A prison politic?
Is there a prison politic that you believe society should adapt or society would benefit from adapting?
I don't know. I think I want to give society kudos because in the last couple years, like I've said it before, I feel like right now, maybe in the last 3 or 4 years, getting out and getting into any type of work is probably the easiest it's ever been.
Okay.
There's been studies that are out that sometimes people with felonies and people in recent, reentry status are getting jobs quicker than people with degrees. And I think that's what's up. I think, I don't know what the reason behind it is. I can't say for sure, but I think right now getting people fresh out and reintegrated into society is easier than it's ever been.
They're trying not to pay people as highly.
That could be a way because
they're not taking the people with the college degrees because they ain't paying the college degree.
There is tax write-offs and grants for hiring felons
and like
companies.
a built-in insurance too, basically.
Yeah, there's so there's what they call they can, like, if you're a company and you're about to hire a felon and say that he has a theft on his record, you can get bonded against dishonest acts.
Right.
Like through the state or the feds or whatever. Like there's grants and there's things like that help that. So that's what's up.
One thing I always noticed in the joint, that respect was more often than not, and I would go out as far as to say that there's more respect inside of those walls than maybe even on the streets, man. You know what I mean? Excuse me's and thank yous, and of course you had your rogue individual.
Listen, I actually had this debate in prison.
Okay, let's go. Let's go.
I'm just gonna say, don't mix respect with fear. Because on the streets, you know what I'm saying? There's not as immediate and detrimental consequences
right.
if you don't respect somebody.
Right.
You could get stabbed in prison for saying the wrong thing or not being in conformity with the program. And like there's so not to put them out there, but there's a specific race that when I was at Walla Walla, you couldn't cut between their tables. Right. That was definitely
no.
Yeah, the consequence for that was everyone in the area around those tables were going to get up and get on you.
Right.
How would someone new know that?
It doesn't matter.
It's up to their race to tell them.
That's what I'm saying. It's one of those things where when you come in, there's prison orientations, and then there's prisoner orientations.
Yeah.
So you're going to get an orientation from the warden and whoever, and they're going to be like, this is the prison, this is how we do here, and da-da-da. But then when you get into the prison, your people
Are gonna pull you aside.
whoever you're associated with are gonna sit you down and be like, look, this is how it goes. This is what it is. Like at Walla Walla, we don't go to the showers unless we 3 or 4 deep. You don't go when you go to the chow hall. We have 3 or 4 tables we specifically sit at. You can't sit at any other ones.
Right.
And these particular group of tables, don't cut through them to go get your drinks or your food. Walk around. Da da da. You know what I'm saying? Like in war times, we have to walk 3 or 4 deep.
Right.
From any A to B point.
Women's prison is not that.
Yeah, it's
You could beat up a bitch one day and then the next day be her friend. It's literally, it's so dumb. You could beat up somebody for somebody and then they'll turn around and be their friend.
Right.
It's like, it's ridiculous. It's really is. You beat somebody up just so you could move units. You know what I'm saying? Like little dumb shit.
Right.
Stage a fight just so you could move units. Like
That's actually smart. Okay.
yeah, right. Like we weren't even doing that.
stage.
I remember the move in the state was so you get into the R units. Now R units is where they process and they decide where they're gonna send you. And so when you go to your little orientation, you tell the guards like names of people you know at different prisons.
Right.
You be like, yeah, I'm scared to death of him. And then you put what they call keep separate.
Right.
And you narrow it down to like only 4 prisons you could go to.
Now I'm going to Cedar Creek.
I remember that move.
They did that too.
They used to do that shit to me
They
all
put
the time.
keep separates on
You go to talk to the counselor. You got 19 keep separates. Like, I don't even know that dude.
Yeah. There used to be hella times I used to try to go somewhere and they'd be like, yeah, you
Ooh,
can't
the
go
one
there.
that used to fucking piss me off the most is bitches doing fake Prias on bitches to move in the unit with their bitch. That shit used to fucking kill me because that is not a fucking joke, okay?
That's
Not a joke.
dangerous.
So Priya, for you guys that don't know, I don't remember what the
Prison,
acronym means.
rape.
Education Act.
Yeah.
There
Something
it is.
like that. E might be
Yeah.
wrong. The E
So-
might be wrong, but it's prison
Yeah,
rape.
you don't play with that. Like that
And they would
pertains to
just
the
to
guards.
move into a unit with their bitch, and it's like, damn, you're putting that whole person's livelihood because that means when they get out, they may have to register as a whole ass sex offender.
Yeah, it's
like
a whole,
it's not
it's a whole
fucking
charge.
joke.
It's not a
It's an
yeah.
investigation. It's
Yeah, it's
bad.
big. It's
bad.
big.
Yeah.
Especially the guards, because they had a big deal with the guards was in there fucking the women in the prisons. You know what I mean? And
What do you see? I think that is what's fucked up. I feel like, especially in a women's prison, male guards. I just think that's crazy because I feel like the females. And not that I'm separating men and women or like that, but like.
but the system separates them.
No, I mean
For a
just
reason.
For the purpose of the conversation, I just feel like for a male guard to take advantage of and I feel like take advantage would be the word, and have sexual relations with a female inmate. I just feel like that I can't.
So what
find
about all
word.
the female guards that take advantage of the male inmates?
For some reason, I don't see it that way, and
'Cause
maybe
it's 'cause
maybe
you're a
I'm wrong.
dude. It's because you're a dude.
I mean, if we're gonna go there,
these bitches are trying to get dick, okay? They're not being taken advantage of. They want it.
Okay.
But-
Maybe
but-
maybe I need that insight. Maybe I need that insight.
but when you're talking about ethics,
Ethics. That's the word I was looking for.
you're talking
Thank
about
you.
ethics.
Thank
It's not
you.
ethical. Period. It's against the law for a reason.
Right.
Because these are people that are going through background checks to uphold themselves to a specific standard of society, and their job requires them not to have sex with these people.
Right.
Whether it's a male, prison having sex with a female guard, or when male guards were raping male inmates,
Right.
like it happens. It's not supposed to.
Right.
And that's why pre-exists, because there is no such thing legally as
As
consensual sex inside of a prison, whether it's inmate to inmate or guard or
Right.
counselor or any form of any staff. It's just not. It's not a thing. It's a crime.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It happens a lot. Like dudes always.
Which is
"Man,
dumb.
knock
If someone
me
wants to
in,
have
blah,
a
blah."
relationship in prison with another prisoner, who gives a fuck? Why do they want to write you up and freaking make it a big deal? Let them room together. Let them fucking date. Who cares? It's their life, and that's how they're living.
I kind of feel that way too.
Like,
if they want
damn.
to, but then that opens the door to someone else taking advantage of someone else. But I agree with you 100%. If they want to do it, let them do it. Whatever.
And a lot of times they do.
Right.
It's unspoken. Like I've seen a lot of
Yeah.
relationships. Like I've done over
If we can't-
15 years accumulative.
Can't like hold hands
in
openly
prison.
in
No,
women's
yeah, you
prison
can't do it in
and-
their face because it's against the law.
Right.
But the guards know who are like in relationships. All the, you know what I mean? Like it's known, but it's not openly like, hey, that's okay.
Right.
But they know who's who. They know who's doing what. They know, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes they'll let them move into a cell with each
Right.
other knowing that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of crazy. Look at that. That is...
Oh. I was like, is that?
That isn't long. I'll be right back.
After these messages. Boop, beep,
That's the
boop.
law.
Stupid.
Oh, man.
We're still on live.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
We're just popping this, man. We're just popping this, man.
And we popping it, you know, live and authentic, raw and uncut. That was my ankle bracelet beeping for no reason because it's not supposed to do that. But it is what it is. You know, these are the things I have to do for the choices that I made.
Right.
But the choices I'm making outweigh all that shit.
Right.
So, what's that place we just hit?
Bubble
Northwest.
mixology, bubbleology.
Bubbleology.
What is that?
Bubble tea.
It's a bubble tea. Okay, so listen, I'm disappointed in them actually.
Uh-oh. Dun, dun, dun.
The people that I kept seeing with the advertisements and the things, they had these freaking drinks, right? They were like a drink and they had like cotton candy mounted and sprinkles all like this thick around the rims and freaking cupcakes and Laffy Taffy and the cotton candy on top of the drink and all this. So I'm like, okay, there's this place because we were coming from out there. I'm like, let's stop by there. I want to get one of those drinks just so the kids can like see it and I can see it. And we pull up there and I don't see nothing like that on the menu. I'm like, what the hell? So then we get up to the window and I'm asking her and she's like, oh yeah, we're out of that was our monthly special or something.
Yeah,
and we're out of it.
That was June.
And then Aries is getting a bubble tea, which she loves, and like half the flavors are out. And then I'm like, look, I saw this drink on whatever. Can you make something like it? You know,
Showed her a
like
picture
what
of it
can you
on
make
her
that will
phone.
look like this? And she goes, oh well, I can just do a plain whatever. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I order it. $30 later after two drinks and 3 cake pops. And
Cake
she
pops,
hands me.
which is something that's new. It's like
They're not new.
to me, it's new.
Oh.
Yeah. That's
Those have been a long time.
Well, you guys know. To me, it's new, but they look delicious. I didn't get one. The kids each got one, but yeah, $30 later. My bad, babe.
A plain ass vanilla knockoff type of milkshake, freaking vanilla frappuccino
She said, "I'll
without
make you
coffee.
She said, "I'll make you a vanilla latte
without the coffee,
milkshake without the
basically.
coffee."
So I'm thinking she's gonna decorate it all up, and I was like, okay, cool. I don't care really what the drink is. I just want it for the look and the experience. And she freaking comes to the window with the plain ass shit. I was like, is she serious?
Handed you a water,
literally
pretty much,
just
huh?
showed you the picture and told you, and you said, you know, like you
Pictures
did.
are debatable if they're going to be in the edits or not. We don't know if they made the picture yet. We did get a picture of the menu and the title of the place, so we'll let you guys decide.
Let's talk about that price, though, because I had a similar experience the other day, man, with Domino's, man. And just what's happening to the price of food and anything we do, like, ever. It's crazy, man.
Yeah. There is no dollar menu at like fast food anymore anywhere.
It's
There's
complete bullshit.
Yeah, even Taco Bell for him and Aries was $30.
Come
Taco
on.
Bell
Two of us.
for 2 people, a kid and
on.
an adult. That's crazy.
That's nuts.
Taco Bell.
Come
All right.
on,
Well, look
man.
here. Calvin is about to get into something. He's been waiting to get into a topic.
Yep,
He's
yep.
excited about it. Actually, did some research on it and everything. So, if you guys want to get into that with us, you're gonna have to tune in to Love and Lacey on YouTube because the live portion of this is now over.
Thank you for your
Over
support.
finito.
Hey.
Buenas noches. Nice.
Dang, you got a whole report and
A
everything?
whole report.
So like we in school.
Alright.
All right. We still here.
You still here, man?
We just clicked off the live for you guys that's watching on the YouTube. Live has ended for those guys, and now this is a continuation of the episode.
Make sure you guys go back and watch that live too. You know, you guys are capable of doing such. So make sure you guys check
we
that
might
out.
leave
man.
it up.
Popping it up in a little bit. So, I heard something very interesting. We've been hearing about this throughout the years, but and you know, it's always someone's opinion or something like that. But I sat down and I watched the U.S. government, some parts of Congress, speak to whistleblowers about UFOs and UAPs, unidentified aerial phenomena, and unidentified anomalous phenomena. So, just recently, as of right now, it's going on right now, you guys can look it up. David Grush, Mr. Graves, and the old Commander Fravor. And Commander Fravor was the pilot, one of the pilots. You guys have seen that Tic Tac.
Yeah.
You see that? He was one of those pilots. So these guys are, quote, whistleblowers because they were speaking to the board of Congress about these UFOs in our skies and stuff like that. However, this is what threw me off. They're not whistleblowers because David Grush was given permission to talk about these things to Congress. So how is he a whistleblower? Anyways. But
different conversation.
But I thought this is very interesting because I think we need to start paying attention to things like this. There have been crash sites and retrieval of crash site debris with biologic. See, I don't know the names of all this stuff, but it's going down, man. It's going down, and I've always been on the fence. I do believe in aliens, but it's always been because maybe someone told me something when I was little, and I've kind of
and are they bad? Are they good? Are they just made out to be bad because we don't know what the fuck they are and what they and they're foreign to us?
That's one thing I forgot when I was locked up. Probably, I'd say 3 nights a week because. It was something I liked to listen to, but I didn't always follow up every week. But I'd say I average 3 nights a week. I should listen to that Coast to Coast.
Okay.
Are you hip?
I know about it. Yeah.
Yeah, Coast to Coast is just kind of that phenomenon where they discuss, UFOs and the possibilities and all the different. And they be having some special lists, like some pretty convincing people. Talking about these things in detail, about the government and about, the fact that crash sites, the fact that some of our technology over the technological boom was due to reverse engineering from those crash sites. And I mean, I don't know, but at the same time, it's like I'm open-minded.
Okay.
And I feel too like
I believe that. If they were to go on the news and bring an extraterrestrial onto the news,
just walk on stage with the president,
or just something like that I wouldn't be like,
right.
I think I would take it in stride. That's where I'm at with this topic.
Okay.
Is there's so much that if I put it on a scale, I might be leaning towards like. There's got to be more than just us. That's almost like extremely arrogant of the human race to be like, we're
every planet doesn't have something on it. Right?
Every galaxy, every gazillion piece of space. Right. There's nothing else alive.
When I was growing up, oh my god, I just lost. What was that show? X-Files.
Oh,
it was huge when I was growing up, and they were always doing the alien thing. So back then. They made it really scary, so it was like I wanted to believe in them, but I didn't want to say I believed in them because if I said I believe in them, then they would come find me because they knew I believed in them.
They made it a horror. They made it a horror.
My thing
show.
with that is just like anything else, just like horror movies in general, right? Or like ghost horror movies, or just anything. It's like people have to have seen these things for their brain to create these
images and
things
recreations.
I always think about that when I'm watching like crazy intense movies about things. I'm like, how did they come up with that? How did they think of that?
Well, it's just like the study.
Something they saw, or something that someone they know saw, or something someone they know and they know they know and they saw and they built on that. Like.
Have you ever heard this concept about dreaming faces? I've heard in a few studies and a few like doctors or whatever have said that any face that you dream, you've already seen at some point in your life, even if it was in passing. So, according to these studies, they're saying that we can't dream up faces
that we haven't seen.
Yeah, we can't fabricate faces in our dreams.
Right, just like if you dream of something, it has to be something you watched, saw, are thinking of, something that fears you, something that motivates you. There's just, I don't know. I just think because when I watch intense movies, I think about that. I'm like, this came from something. Like this happened to someone, and they told their story, and now this is the movie or the show or the book we're watching. And things get built on, of course, and they have a million other people putting in their ideas, and that just creates whatever. But at the end of the day, that original thought came from something true.
Okay.
That's my.
I remember, matter of fact, in Lacey, I was probably 12 or 13 years old in front of my grandma's house, and we seen some crazy stuff in the sky, and then that shit was in the papers all over the next day.
In town here?
In Lacey. Man, we have a hot spot in Washington. Now I can't remember where it is. Like I literally used to listen to Coast all the time.
Yeah.
There's like a couple hot spots for sightings in Washington. For sure.
See, I'm so interested in this stuff, and I feel like I heard him give his answer, but if something came out of the sky tomorrow, how would you feel?
I would be fearful.
Okay.
Because it's foreign and it would be real. It's a thought that I know is there and that I know might exist, but it's not at my forefront or affecting me, and so I don't deal with it. If it's at my forefront, it's gonna put fear in me, and it's gonna be like, well, now what? And now what's gonna happen? And having kids changes everything, because that's another thing. It's like before I had kids, watching like world destructive or plane crashes didn't affect me as much as now. I get so horrified. I'm like, if that happened to me,
you start having anxiety.
What would I do? Because they're just so little, and would I be able to run and carry them? And what would happen? And
like shit, my older daughter had a really good point. So Zai was talking about that phenomenon that happens with the solar flares.
Which that died down. That was like going off.
And they were saying millions of
weeks.
people would die just from the lack of food and the raiding and all that. And she was like, Dad, we need to have family meetings, like even if it never happens, for a just in case plan, because what they're saying is if that flare happens, it takes out all technological
everything.
No phones, no Wi-Fi, no nothing. The way that we communicate now, there's no landlines. Like, you would have to dig those up, like in the movies. When that shit happens, you'd have to go find an old landline or an old spin.
Nobody has it. Yeah, nobody has that.
Who's got landline phones anymore? And if the grid's gone and then this shit's not working, how do you reach out to the family that's a county or a state away to try to coordinate? Let's get together and
let's meet here at this time.
Yeah, so you would almost have to have like some kind of plan in place, some type of family meeting, and we were just talking about the little Ramtha thing because we were out there, it's by there, and you hear all the rumors about them having underground bunkers and all this different stuff, and it's almost like, well, I'd rather have one.
Yeah,
what did they know that
you know
we
what I'm
don't?
saying?
Yeah.
Right, did not have it if I needed it.
All of this stuff is crazy. Once there was a point in time a few years ago before I went to prison and stuff, and someone was very into like Phenomenon, right?
Yep.
And they were into, like the Get Out movie, and then there's another one called This Is Us or something. Well, apparently throughout all those movies, and if you go on YouTube, you can see all this stuff, right? And it will show you all the things in these movies that have numbers, or like certain things where a word will have a number if you turn it a certain way.
Whoa,
and those numbers have to do with something in time and events, and and it all gets so like big and just makes you think so much, and it's like once you start watching it, you can't stop thinking about it, and then you really start to believe it because they're literally proving point after point of all this stuff, and it's just freaky. It's just like how the thing happened with the Twin Towers, and then they folded the bill, whatever bill that was, and made it.
Weird.
How does that happen?
That was weird.
Who puts the time to folding a bill to make it to where they can make that picture? And that is insane. Bills that have been around for how many years? You know what I mean? It's insane. So it's like, it's crazy how people put things like that together, but they really are there. It's not like reprinted and made up.
I also kind of feel if you look hard enough for something, you'll find it. You know what I mean?
And I said that recently too on a post, because I was talking about the cancel culture, and it's like at the end of the day, matter of fact, it was something I think I posted, and somebody had said something. Oh yeah, I know what it was. You remember the post I did with and it was a story of like the old man in the store.
Okay, yeah.
And the girl had the little booty shorts on.
Yep.
And he sat her down and broke down all these different things about, you should, all the things on the earth, that are precious are covered up and da-da-da-da. And so somebody had made some kind of post like, would you think that's sexist? Or basically just something along the lines. And I was like, anything that is said on social media or anywhere public, if somebody's looking to be offended, they will be.
They're going to be offended.
Period.
And they're going to start crying.
I only personally post, and I made this post earlier too, for one reason, and it's to inspire.
Right.
Period. I don't have any negative agendas. I don't have any conspiracy theories that I post. And if I see a post and share it or screenshot it and repost it, it's because the message to me is positive. It doesn't mean you nitpick every sentence and be like,
right.
oh, this is sexist, and what about boys being promiscuous? It was something along those lines.
Right.
And I was like, look, I would have the same conversation with my son as I would have with my daughter about themselves, about honoring themselves and valuing yourself, showing up for yourself. You know what I mean? I would have that conversation with people in my peer work, in my job, because the more you honor yourself, the better life you will lead, the better life you will have. And I've recently, been sharing my definition of love. And
Talk to me.
And what I believe is love is time, positive energy invested, thought, and action. It's very simple. Because when I say energy invested versus energy spent, anybody that knows anything about, gambling in actual investments, our energy is our currency. That is what we exchange with any interaction to anything, any thought, any relationship, whether it's parent, sibling, wife, family. You know what I'm saying? And so we have a finite amount of energy every day. Now you can either spend that energy on negative things, on hate, on envy, on anger,
right.
on things that don't necessarily matter, or you can invest that energy into positive things. You can invest your time, your energy, your thoughts, and your actions, which essentially are the only things that you own.
True.
That's it. That's what you own.
Shit else. They want taxes on it.
So how can you exchange something that's not yours? So the only thing you own that you have control of, incontrovertible control of.
You just made me think of something.
Go.
With taxes. So I saw this post the other day, and it was like, there's like these things on TikTok, and they're like, what's one thing that you heard that you basically can't get over, like the thought of, or, and it was this girl, and she was saying that taxes and how our money's taxed because we get a paycheck and the government takes taxes out of it. But then we go to the store and we have to pay taxes on something out of our money that was already taxed on.
We just had this conversation. Me and you, just like
and how it
2
went
days
down
ago.
the line, and I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, and it was basically like I remember that post too, or the TikTok you showed me. Mm-hmm. At the end of it, they're basically saying like $500 was tax for like $340.
Right.
At the end of all that.
Yeah.
Because it constantly, and then if you cash app it to somebody, it gets taxed again. Like it's just getting taxed and taxed and taxed, and it's true.
It's nonstop. I personally feel like taxes are a tool to help keep the poor down. Mm-hmm. Not to get in like not that I'm super political, but like I was telling you on the phone, you have a house, you still have to pay property taxes on it. Then you go to the store, you pay taxes on it. But when you're in a different bracket or a different, when people who have more money, it's not their fault, but the taxes aren't the same, right? And so when people are lower class, like myself, I'm not rich, the taxes affect me more than they would someone with lots and lots of more money. Also, there's ways to get around taxes if you have that much money. So it's, again, I'm not no political savant or nothing like that. I just know I'm cheap. And I hate spending
I
money.
mean, that's just like insurance. Like,
Right.
look at the things that they do
We already talked about insurance.
to create ways. Like,
Where does that money go, anyways? When you pay insurance, where's that going?
not only that,
Do you
like,
want me to answer that?
I got the whatchamacallit. I got State Farm Drive Safe and Save. Yeah. And so ever since I had that app, I've been fixated on like the perfect
Yeah.
way to drive.
Which is great.
It is great, but at the end of the day, it's like it's a mind fuck to think that I'm doing all of this to save a few dollars for something that's charging me thousands of dollars a year for a what if. I'm 39 years old. I've never been in an accident that I had to pay more than a couple grand to fix anything.
Right.
And the times that cars I had were in accidents and I ended up having to come out of pocket, there wasn't even insurance involved.
My mom asked me what happened to the back of my car the other day.
Yeah, just bump. Googly eyeing my wife after a haircut. I fucking hit a pole. Bent up the back bumper.
I thought you hit her in her car or something. I thought you.
No, I was
No, he
driving.
was in my car. He
Oh.
was looking at me. I was smiling. He was looking at me, and he fucking boom. I'm like, what the f?
Their fault.
Oh, he's in love. You know what I'm saying? He's in love.
Okay, so what else about this?
Oh yeah. So basically, after all these notes, these three men, Mr. Grush, Mr. Graves, and former Commander Fravor, they were all like being questioned by all the people, and people were asking them questions. They're basically saying that there is UFOs and non-human beings, and in crash sites they have found not only debris from the crash site, but non-human biologics. Like, this shit is here. You know what I'm
But
saying?
the thing is like, why does the government hide that so bad? Like, what is going? Like, why is it that they either
Because
want-
even though there are government, it's like they're taking on the stance of, should I trust the people?
The stupid people.
It's not even about stupid people. Because there's one argument that says, think about all the
think about, we have
religious...
scientists that try to travel to planets, right? So maybe the aliens have scientists and they're trying to travel to our planets, and that's them crashing on our planet. They're just trying to explore. Wonder what the
No,
hell
but-
this
but
Earth
that-
They
planet
talk about
is.
that too.
Like,
They talk about
But
that
that's
too.
not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is there are religious fanatics and people that hold so tightly to their religion.
oh, that, like, that's the devil, or like.
Well, not even that that's the devil, but it would shatter their faith to introduce all these different beings if in their faith they only believe
Right.
humans exist.
I was just going to ask you guys that. What does it do when, I asked you guys earlier, when that alien walks across the thing to the podium with the president, what does that do to religion?
It just depends, though, because some religions are tolerant and,
Yeah, I don't
and
know
they're
how that would
ambiguous enough to leave that door open.
Okay.
Because if there's,
And
yeah, we're
religions
not
are
going to
supposed
get,
to be
we're not going to get
accepting
into
and-
like religion because
Right.
there's 300 and something like named like above the board religions in
Right,
the
right.
world. And who's to say which one's the real one or the right one or the one that has the exact truths or answers when the core of the majority of religions are peace and love and tolerance and don't kill and steal and hurt people and you know what I'm saying?
Conformity keeps people in line. You know what I mean? Along with other things, but to kind of get back to what she was saying, religions kind of keep people in line, and maybe that's what he was saying. They don't want to tell us this because it could shatter a religion, right? And now people aren't in those lines like they used to be. People aren't conforming the way they used to be. I don't know. I'm not a scientist, but the shit is here. You know what I'm saying?
Right, and why is it that 9 out of 10 movies make them a bad thing? Or
Right. And the guy was also saying that they asked
now it
him,
makes you think all the shit they made fun of Trump for his UFO Space Force.
Right.
That he funded right when he
The defense space.
and
space
how he
thing,
was
yeah.
saying he was going to what's the word, declassify all the information about that they had stockpiled on extraterrestrial activities and our interactions and how long that's been going on through the
Right.
presidency. Like he talked about all that. So now was that real, or does that still fall within the conspiracy theory because it was Trump saying it?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Because when you're locked up, all you watch is the news,
Mm-hmm.
CNN, MSNBC, and Fox, and that was a big topic when Trump was president. That he was going to release all this information that they've been knowing about it since JFK, and you know what I'm saying, whatever. All the different presidents take these different oaths to keep this secret, and,
Right.
and Trump was like, "Fuck it, I'm about to."
Dude, I'm all
and then he got caught with all these documents in Florida. Remember that whole big thing?
That's why he's in trouble now, right?
Yeah, they went and raided him, and he had all these documents that he took from the White House. Were some of those about that? Like, who knows? Who really knows?
Right.
Because we only get the very filtered,
The
very,
drop.
very.
What they want us to
Yeah, we
think.
get whatever. Like, it's not going to go on air if it's going to be excruciatingly
Right.
damaged or considered classified.
Which again makes me also back to, and we've
Okay.
talked about this before too. I had brought this up on one of our podcast episodes about technology and like where will our kids be when they're our ages and stuff.
Right.
As far as like, will they even be reading materials physically anymore?
Right.
Will they even be
it's
will
gonna be,
their
like,
kids even
behind
know
their
how to
ear, like a
actually
chip.
write? Are they only going to be typing on? You know what I mean?
I mean, well, think about the Earth and what it takes to make a book. Think about the argument for not making books anymore.
Mm.
I'm just saying, if you look at it from specifically like a environmentalist point of view, like how many trees have to get chopped when trees are the reason why we breathe?
Right.
How many of those have to be, you know what I'm saying? How many can be left in the ground if they completely abolished publishing books
yeah.
on paper?
And put them all on Kindle.
You could just stick them on,
Yeah.
you can just put them in a drive this big. And
Right.
the whole world can fucking read 'em.
350,000 of them.
Yeah. You know what I mean? It's yeah.
Hey, I
That
do
part.
I do have to make this point though. So Mr. Burleson, one of the people from the Board of Congress, he asked Mr. Bruce if any of the activity has been harmful or aggressive or hostile towards humans. And Mr. Bruce said multiple colleagues of his have been physically injured by UFOs and or the non-human beings. He has personally, and then so there was a bunch of times where they were asking him stuff, and he basically was saying like, I can't say it right now, but after we get out of here, and there's a word, I should have wrote the word down. There's a word he kept using, to where he can tell them. He just can't say it like on the TV or whatever.
Congress,
Yeah. But and then she asked him like, when can we get this list of whatever? He was like, well, basically after this meeting. But he said that he personally witnessed him and his wife. Something that was very disturbing, and they're asking him, "Hey man, what's up?" And he's like, I don't have the authority to say it right here and now, but like once this is done, we go in the back. I'm gonna give you the list of people.
Closed
you can talk
session,
to.
basically.
Yeah, basically. But he had a word for it, and I want you guys to look this up, man. I want everyone to be informed, man. And I didn't even get to watch the whole thing, but man, and they were saying how USA, they asked him, does the US government interact with spacecraft and alien beings? And Grush, the same guy, explained it as like a interdimensional holographic thing, to where like imagine how we're all 3D beings and we cast a shadow on here, like my shadow's here, and I mean I'm no astrophysicist, right? But it's like a shadow, and the beings are like the shadow compared to like the actual. So they're like, it's crazy. You guys just gotta watch this stuff, man. But all three of them were not basically. They were saying yes, they're here. They've been here. We have bodies, debris, everything, and it just really makes you think, man. I've been watching this stuff all day long. Look at these notes, man. and then they were talking about Commander Fravor. He was the one with the Tic Tac. He was one of the guys that had
Yeah,
that
that
interaction.
Tic Tac's been around for so long.
Right, that was 15 years ago. They said, why did it take so long to come out? Oh, it wasn't up to me. Fred was like, I would have told you guys, because these guys are trying to get this out here. So the issue is this, right? We go in the sky.
Which stands to make you ask the next question. If it took 15 years to get it out, what has escalated
Yes.
for them to put it out? What urgency behind the scenes is now making them like, hey, we probably should tell.
Start saying something.
Yeah, we
Or we're
should
going to
probably
look stupid on the backside.
not stupid, but we should probably prepare them because this is now happening. Are we being galactically threatened? Has there been a deal made and now that deal is falling apart? Like, is there something that we need to know?
Right.
Because
Did aliens plant COVID on us?
You never, nowadays,
Did
you
they
never
try
know,
to burn
man.
us down last year with all the wildfires? Or was that the year before? Remember all the fires in
Yep,
California
yep.
and everything was just on fire and it was like hell on Earth during COVID? Remember that?
And then
Global
there,
warming's happening. Every year keeps getting hotter and hotter and
see,
hotter.
yeah, that's something to think about. That's something to think about, man. Because we don't know. It could have been. For all we know, could have been. Could have been. But it's interesting. You know, they also spoke about, there was another guy who was on the Congress side of it, was explaining he's some kind of like, maybe like old pilot's boss or something. Someone up, right? And he was saying how they did a military test. And when they do these military tests, they're supposed to be, the airways are supposed to be clear. And so these pilots go up there and do the military test. There's this formation, right? 4 spacecrafts formation. And they're seeing it. And this is what's scary right here. So the pilots are like, oh, our test area is supposed to be clear. What is that? So one of the pilots goes over there. And so all of a sudden they call it a FLIR, which is like their radar system or something like that. It malfunctions. All of his radar malfunctions, right? And so he has to like use like on the lens where the camera was, malfunctions, but he can still take a picture with it. So he's taking a picture. So the guy asked him, the Congress guy, like, hey, why did you just take a video? And so the guy explained to him, it shut all my stuff off. And so if these things have capabilities of turning off our weapons, do we stand a chance?
Right, and then there's things like, isn't there some, what's it called? Is it the Bermuda Triangle or is that something?
Yeah,
where,
that's
the
that
things
place where they disappear,
and shit?
yeah.
Like, that shit's weird as fuck.
It is,
You know what I
man.
mean?
It is.
The sea, okay, so we're talking about the sky right now, but, like, the sea is what
Let's talk about it, Lacey.
freaks me out. I do not go in ocean water. I do not care. I'm not going in the ocean water. There are, like, the largest unknown, unfreaking seen, unheard of, unfound, undiscovered things in the ocean. You literally just never could know. And it's like there's a bunch of things, and most of them are like in Iceland and Greenland, like just like super far away, right? But they were like on mermaids, right? Like, are mermaids real? A bunch of studies.
No, I remember
they
that
find.
they did that whole big show that they said was a hoax.
And then
I
there
remember that.
was this, there's this one scientist, it's like an alien underwater, and it like comes up on their submarine and taps window, and you see it, and what it looks like is what we know an alien looks like, the big eyes and whatever, and then it swims away or whatever. And that was like you said, a scientist bona fide went on and made this whole thing about it, and it's on the internet and you can look it up, and it's just stuff like that
Man.
freaking, like, what's below us.
What's below us, man? Have you seen the size of some of these octopus?
Yeah.
That alone freaks me out.
So my friend, that's kind of like what made me think of it. My friend, she dives and stuff, and I was talking to one of our other mutual friends, and she's like, yeah, did Sarah ever tell you about the time that she saw an octopus or whatever, like a giant octopus in the Puget Sound? I'm like, no. So I'm like, Sarah, I heard you have pictures. She's like, yeah, I was just diving and I heard this huge splash and this giant Pacific octopus or whatever was eating a seal. Like, right in the water, like right behind her. She turned
It's
around.
probably big as a house, man.
Right, but like the picture she got, it's blurry because it's like water and whatever. But you can see, what you can see are like the big white, like, things on the tentacle, and like an orange big tentacle, and then a big black blob, which is probably the seal. freaking creepy. Right out here.
Right over there.
Like,
Comaneros.
no, thank you. Okay?
Scary, man. I'm scared of the ocean as well.
So scared.
So I don't like it. You know, I like to be able to kind of see what I'm jumping,
Absolutely.
what I'm jumping into.
Man, they got whole movements dedicated to this topic. I'm sure we could do a whole spin-off ourselves. But for content purposes, I'm glad you brought it up.
I do want to say one last thing.
You can say more than one last thing. This is our show.
They were talking about, and all three of the guys confirmed this, only 5% of our Navy, Air Force pilots report their sightings. And 95% don't because of the backlash and the chance that they can lose their careers. Only 5% are reporting this. So now we really got to start thinking. From all that we know and all the rumors and videos that we saw and declassified, that's only 5% now.
And they probably declassified less than 100% of that 5%.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
So of the 5%, maybe 0.5% is actually the videos we've been seeing in the last few years. Because if you notice in the last, 5 or 10 years, it's been the same couple of videos. Like, that's the
I agree
only
with that.
incidents ever. No way. There's more incidents. There's more things.
You remember that one thing? I don't think we were alive. It was a long time ago. It was like the Battle of San Francisco. All of a sudden, just in the middle of a parade, or not parade, some kind of city function, there was just this thing in the sky, and the military was there, and they were shooting at it. You know what I mean? They had a war with this thing in the sky, and the whole city's there as well. You know what I'm trying to say? And just
No, but I see a lot of things that I just never know which ones are fabricated or, people are making. But I see a lot of videos with random things or random, the way the sky looks, or there will be something in the sky just that's not supposed to be there.
Right.
And they're like, do you see that? And they're in, and it looks so real, but it's who fucking knows? But there's a lot of videos with stuff like that too.
And everybody wants clicks, you know what I'm saying? So you got to kind of be careful with those ones.
Yeah, for sure.
And you know what I mean? Stuff like that.
For sure.
I just think we should all be paying attention to stuff like this, man, because I feel like it's coming down the pipeline. I feel like any day now, man, we're going to be, who knows, man, just something to come out the sky. And I also feel like they're probably, A, not hostile towards us, if this is true, or B, they're doing reconnaissance.
I believe, or I won't say I believe, but I would lean more towards there being multiple different species where some are benign and some aren't.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Because that makes more sense. If there's one, there's more.
Some are predators.
Like mathematically, it kind of has to be that way.
Well, I just feel like if there's because again, going back to the whole Donald Trump theory or whatever, when I used to watch on the news, they were basically saying that this Space Force was a part of a Guardians of the Galaxy, galactic space police.
Yeah.
And there's multiple, 40-something documented different species of, to us, extraterrestrials.
Right.
And so there might be, obviously, with anything, any species, there's good and there's bad. There's ones that have good agendas. There's one that have no agendas, and they're, whatever, exploratory. They just, oh, look at that. That's cool. You know what I mean? And then there's
evil ones.
We're going to ruin them and take over their whole whatever, or whatever. You know what I mean?
Do you think it's possible that one species is protecting us?
It could be.
Yeah.
It could. I'm just saying, if you look at it like that, and then you got to think, where do these thoughts come from? Think about everything we've ever watched since we were kids that have to do with space. From Star Wars on up, there's always the good aliens and the bad aliens, and they always team up with the humans and save us specifically, of course, because we're producing the movies and making the propaganda. But at the end of the day, that's still an insidious way to instill those possibilities in your society. If that's what you're playing, those are the big ticket movies and those are the ideas. So if there were some major public landings and nothing happened, originally. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Those are the type of things that would probably go through a lot of people's minds. There's going to be people that just stick their head in the dirt and be like, no, that's not happening.
Right.
Or I'll deal with it if it's in my particular city.
Right. If it's in my face, and then we'll deal with it then.
I mean, but it's a topic. It sure is.
It is, man.
A content grabber. It's a way to. It's thought provoking.
It's very thought provoking.
Emotion provoking.
I'm gonna go home and watch the rest of this probably all night.
Yeah, send me the link. Send me the link. Now I'm interested in watching whatever it is that Congress was putting on, because like I said, like if they're releasing this much, whatever they're releasing on Congress, you have to just kind of assume if they're showing this much, then my whole body's attached to this finger.
Right.
That they're not showing.
That's a good analogy.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
the rest is under the sand.
Yeah, and so we should probably watch what they're showing and then make up our own minds about it.
Right.
That's all you can really do with anything. You know what I mean? I could just list a whole bunch of things and tell all our viewers that these are facts and I can stand on it. But at the end of the day, you got to make up your own mind. Like, are you going to believe me or not believe me? Or especially if nothing happens in your lifetime, then did it ever really matter?
Did it ever really matter? Right.
You know what I mean? At that time, at that point,
That's a good point, B. That's a good point. If it never happened in your lifetime, then you can easily say it's not true. But if it does, you can't deny it.
You don't have to necessarily say it's not true, but like it doesn't affect your reality.
Right, but also it's just like, oh my God, I was just talking about that too. It's like this could be like a topic that I don't want to get into, but it's just like with them teaching us things in our history to children now, and it just keeps the cycle of that history going, such as racism and slavery and things. I know that it's important things in the history, but is it really important for our kids now to know that? Is it affecting them now? Would it be affecting everybody now if it wasn't taught to the future? And that's just, it is, if your kids never watch a scary movie, they don't have something to be afraid of at night. Mm-hmm. They're not going to be afraid of a monster in the closet if they never saw a movie with a monster in the closet or a ghost here, or it's created in their mind and then it's instilled and it's believed because they saw it, right? And it's like you watch these things and you never thought about them before because they're not something that's in your life affecting you, but now you watch it and now you think it could be affecting you. And now it's in your life and you exactly. So it's manifested within from seeing or hearing something. It gets manifested within,
and that's the ultimate thing. That's why I said, like, you hear something, you get to a certain stage in development as a human being, whether a teenager or a grown person,
or you create it.
And
that's what I was trying to get at.
You create it, you hear it, whatever it is. But if you're hearing something externally, you have to make a decision about how to internalize it.
Like, what if so like ghost? What are they called?
Like EPA.
Paranormal activity or whatever.
Right, when they like record things and they're like, oh, did you hear that? It sounded like this. But it literally could be the way the freaking wind was rustling through something, and they make a word of it because they're trying to hear something, and then they just create it and it's real and that's what it is and it was a word. But what if it was literally just the fucking rustle of something or the wind blowing this way or the door creaking a certain way?
Again.
You know?
Your reality is not based on what you know.
It's based on what you believe.
Based on what you believe.
Right.
People act and do things based on what they believe. Criminals believe they'll get away.
Right. Or they wouldn't do it.
Period. They know it's wrong. They know it's a crime.
Sometimes spouses think their spouse is really cheating. They really believe that shit, but it's not happening. Like...
It's true.
Yeah.
You're gonna start following them down.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, people operate on their beliefs, and on the good thing of it, one of the things that I constantly put out there and pursue it if you want it. Like, if I believe I am entitled or I believe I can do something, there isn't a person on the planet that can shake that belief. Right. And so my achievements are because of what I believe. not what I know. Because if I went on what I know is there's so many people that said you can't be doing this, you can't do this. There's no way you would get a job doing this. There's no way you would be on a foundation doing that. There's no way, no how. That's what I know.
Now look at you.
But what I believe is I can do what I want.
Or people have eating disorders because they believe they're fat, but really they're very, very skinny. But in their head, they believe it. Or dysmorphia, they look in the mirror and they see just the ugliest, fattest person. Really, they could be the beautifulest person with the nicest figure. And in their head, that is not what they see, and they do not act accordingly. In their mind, they see something different, and they act off of what they see.
Yeah. No way you're fat. You know what I mean? We're all like, no way.
Yeah.
How do you even think that? That's very true, Lacey.
This has been fun. On that, we leave y'all with
thought-provoking thoughts.
hey, why don't you guys comment, man? Tell us what you guys think, man. And just type in David Grusch, Grusch, alien. It'll come up. You guys will see it. And tell us what you think. I'm curious, very curious to hear what you guys think. I want to hear your beliefs. After you watch it, anything that I might have missed.
Better yet,
I didn't
look,
watch
if
it
there's
all.
a link, just post a link on the Love and Lacey page.
Boom.
Post it
That's
on
what I'm gonna
our
do.
YouTube
Boom.
channel.